We're now 11 days away from the NHL trade deadline, and our coverage here on the fourth period is brought to you, as always, by Betway. That's Dennis. I'm Dave. And DB, let's dive right into Philadelphia. They get Rasmus Ristolainen signed to a 5-year, $25.5 million extension. Takes him out of the market. It may put a little bit more attention or the spotlight a little brighter on Justin Braun in Philadelphia and maybe some other pieces as well. But first, DB, your thoughts on the deal?
Yes, Dave. A few words on the Ristolainen signing.
Yeah.
I was always believed when that trade was made in the summer for a first-round pick plus that you have to sign that player. I think with Chuck Fletcher was always determined to sign that player. He did it today. But for me, I know people are running for the hills on this deal, but this is not a Seth Jones signing. This is $5.1 million. He's a mid-level defenseman right now. And for the people that point at his statistics saying he's so terrible, look who he played with. He played with the Buffalo Sabres. He played with a bad Philadelphia Flyer team this season. Dave, if you put him next to Ryan McDonough in Tampa, right, I think his numbers would be better. So I get it. I understand it. His trade value cratered because the season was so bad for this team. And this signing, I think, frees up a guy like Travis Sanheim, or if you want a bigger deal, maybe Ivan Provorov to be dealt. Because if you want to maximize your trade value, that's not the player you would trade. Justin Braun, for me, mid-level, probably conditional pick at best. Because, Dave, there is a glut in the market right now. It's truly a buyer's market because there's so much inventory out there.
Yeah, there really is. There are a ton of defensemen that are out there in the market, from top four to depth guys. So Justin Braun would certainly fall into that 6-7 category for a Stanley Cup contender. It's interesting that you brought up Sanheim because there are some teams that have some interest in him. And I'm not sure if we're going to see a deal involving this player ahead of the trade deadline. But we could certainly see his name continue to pop up in speculation as we inch closer to the NHL draft in Montreal this July. So something else to look out for in Philadelphia. By the way, Claude Giroux stuff, it's starting to pick up. The Flyers are scouting everywhere. They will be in Florida today, so they are scouting out the Panthers' main club as well. They had already scouted their AHL affiliate along with the Rangers and a few other teams as well. So just a lot to keep tabs on
Owen
in
Tippett,
Philadelphia.
Dave. Keep your eye on Owen Tippett.
Right, exactly. He's a player that a few teams actually have interest in, not just the Philadelphia Flyers. So something to look out for there as well. A lot of activity. It's picking up as we get closer to the deadline. The Montreal Canadiens expect still to trade Ben Sherratt. I think everybody is waiting on that, DB. But they have other pieces. And Artturi Lehkonen, his value, I don't think has ever been higher. What do you think happens here with him?
I think you struck, well, the iron's hot, Dave. You maxed the value of this player. He's got, 13 goals after last night in Vancouver. So can you get, Dave, I don't think you can get a first-round pick, but if you can get two assets, a second plus, a second and a third, 2 seconds maybe for this player, who will be a middle six player, but has been effective, can play a great two-way game. If you look at his defensive statistics, Dave, this is a well-rounded player. Now, look, I would try to keep him if I was Montreal, but you have to improve the team. So I don't think that there's one or two untouchables on a team. So I think if you get a nice return for this player who can be effective in a fast skating checking system, I think you look hard at Artturi Lehkonen in Montreal.
Yeah, and they have other pieces. Certainly, Brett Kulak is another player. While he has improved, I think everybody really in Montreal has improved since Marty St. Louis has taken over behind the bench. But he is a player as well, talking about depth defenseman and a guy that has playoff experience the last 2 years. I think it's 23 playoff games the last couple of seasons with the Canadiens. That adds value. So for teams that are looking to bring in somebody, the Brett Kulak is someone to take a look at. And with Lehkonen, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a first-round pick and a less type of package there because, look, Barclay Goodrow, first-round pick plus. Blake Coleman, first-round pick plus. I think Coleman is certainly a better player, but Goodrow kind of fitting that mold. He has more physicality, whereas Lehkonen has more defensive prowess. So just something certainly to watch there for the Canadiens. They've got a big decision to make.
Yeah, well, with respect to Lehkonen, he is restricted with arbitration rights.
Right.
The problem with a kid like Ben Sherratt, people keep saying first round pick, first round pick. Well, Dave, if someone wanted to trade a first round pick for Ben Sherratt, why is he still in Montreal? So to me, that's a concern. But again, because of
Hampus
the
Lindholm.
Right?
That's the
exactly.
reason. Yeah.
That's the reason why. It's the inventory. So, Dave, when we get to the 21st, you and I might be a little bit nervous. There might not be the activity that we think we might have because, again, unless teams who are selling lower their prices, at least at this point, I think we're going to see inertia in the trade market.
The interesting thing about the trade market and the trade deadline time, last season, we had some activity the month before, a bit of
Right.
a lull, and then 5 days before the deadline, a flurry of trades
Boom.
going
Yep.
into deadline day. I think we're going to have a similar outcome this season, but GMs, everyone would love to see a couple more deals kind of happen in these next few days. That's Dennis. I'm Dave. We'll catch you back later tonight here on the Fourth Period trade deadline coverage brought to you by Betway.